Good day everyone, happy weekend, stress to the weekend. So today I'll be making a video based on the question I actually had earlier this week and the explanation I actually gave the person, right? That is the difference between the count function and the counter function. When to use the count function and when to use the counter function. So briefly I'll be giving us an explanation of how that works. So the count function is actually used for counting numerical values only, right? While the counter function or the count a function is used for counting either numerical values, text values, or dates. So it can count any form of values, right? So in this data set, we have the columns for names and the column for sales. So we make use of the count function and the counter function to get information from this data set, right? So in this situation, I want to make use of the count function to count the list of names. Like I said, do not forget, the count function is used for counting just numerical values, right? So count, then select the first cell, then Ctrl Shift down arrow to select the range, then F4 to fix, then close your brackets, then press enter. As you can see now, the count function actually gives us a 0 because there's no numerical values present in the names column. The count function is only used for counting numerical values, right? Now let's make use of the counter function, right? The counter function is used for counting any form of values, could be text, could be numbers, or could be dates, right? So the counter function, right, tab to select the first cell, Ctrl Shift down arrow, then close your brackets, then okay, do not forget to fix, right? So do not forget to fix. So if you don't fix the range right here, you still come out with the same information or the same answer. But just to be safe, always remember to fix the range or the column or the cell you're supposed to fix, right? Then enter. As you can see, we got 109 because the counter function can be used to count any form of values, right? If you check the last cell, right, it is found in row 110, right? Then so row 110, let's subtract the first cell, right? So that will give us 109, right? So which is right. So now let's make use of the count function to count the sales column. Like I said, right? I keep saying it because I want it to sink in. The count function is for counting numerical values. Then equals to count, select, Ctrl Shift down arrow, F4, close your brackets, enter. As you can see, we got 109 because of what the count function is for counting numerical values. Now let's make use of the counter function. Like I said, the counter function is used for counting any form of values. Please do not forget, right? Because you might be dealing with a big data set and you might not realize that, oh, you're supposed to use the counter function and you use the count function. So that mistake is kind of happen all the time. So you just need to be very, very careful while dealing with the count function and the counter function, right? So equals to counter, select, your original is done, fix, close your brackets, and enter. Now we've got the same counter. Now, now this is straightforward. Now let's say you're working with a big data set, right? And in the sales column, right, we have maybe mistakenly, all right, it was written as maybe this was written as 280, right? Okay, capital letter O, right? And this was written as 380, right? Now as you can see, the count function has reduced from 109 to 109 to 107, and that is because of what? Now the this is the text. You wrote O instead of 0, right? And that's why it is aligned to the left. Text are usually aligned to the left, while numbers are usually aligned to the right. Let's not forget that, right? So in this situation, the count function is telling us that there are only 107 total in this data set, right? So in this situation, you already know there's an error, right? So, but there are situations where you might not even realize. We're able to realize that okay, the count function is actually not right because we made use of the count up function in this situation, right? So we already know that okay, there are already 109 values in this data set instead of 107. But in the situation whereby okay, we actually do not know that there are 109 values in this data set, how are we going to realize that? So you need to know, okay, what am I counting? What am I trying to count? First of all, identify if there are if these are all numerical values or there are text embedded in this. So in this situation, you can decide to know if it is rightly aligned or left aligned, right? So you need to just understand when to use the count a and the count function. Okay, so I just want us to have a better clarity about that works. The count function is actually used for counting numerical values, while the counter function is used for counting any form of values. Now, as you can see, when I change this to 280 and this one to 280 and 380, the count function actually reduced. That means it just subtracted these two cells, right? But the counter function actually remained the same. So that is how powerful the two functions can get. You need to know the differences to get analysis right. So thank you. I'll see you next week. Enjoy your weekend of fun and prepare for Monday. Yes.